What's happening, everybody? Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. The deportations are continuing. They are not stopping, even if they may be out of the news. Even if they may not be in the news as often as they once were, as the Donald Trump administration is now reporting 100,000 people detained and or deported in the first 70 days in office. Absolutely unbelievable. The FBI arrests a fugitive MS-13 member. A fugitive MS-13 member in connection to 11 murders 7 minutes from my home. Like, down the damn street from where I'm currently sitting. Absolutely wild. Also, a man in Texas seems very, very upset. Very, very upset at ICE for doing all of these things. So he decided he was going to take a shot at some of them. This comes as a Boston judge holds an ICE officer in contempt of court for arresting an alleged pedophile. Because why wouldn't we want to get rid of one of those in this country? The mayor of Boston, Brianna Wu, continues to obfuscate law enforcement. A Cornell student self-deports after he gets his visa revoked for being a terrorist. And an absolutely tragic story we're going to talk about. An absolutely tragic story of a student who is stabbed in the chest at a track meet. I'm going to show you the story, and then I'll let you guys figure out for yourselves why exactly this isn't getting mainstream media attention. Very curious about that. Very, very curious why that's not getting mainstream media attention. Before we get started, guys, hit that thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place, wherever you're watching from, so that everyone can see it too. Also, next week, I've got a big announcement coming for our Long Island crowd. Very excited, super duper excited. Giddy up, let's go. Giddy up, let's go. This show is brought to you guys by Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, support the people who support this show. Check out oldglorybank.com. Let's go to oldglorybank.com. Request some information. Consider opening up an account with them. Support the parallel economy. Go to own.oldglorybank.com. So, well, we continue to get promises made, promises kept from this administration. And I say, round them all up. Round them all up. We got this from Just the News. The Trump administration deports more than 100,000 illegal immigrants in just the first 70 days of his second term. This is fantastic. President Trump's new administration has deported over 100,000 illegal migrants since taking office in January and has arrested more than 110,000. The numbers are the combination of arrests and deportation by both the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE, the U.S. Border Patrol, and ICE official told Just the News on Tuesday, the news comes as illegal border crossings hit a new all-time low under the Trump administration, with Border Patrol reportedly accounting just 7,100 migrants in all of March. In all of March. That's like, I don't know, let's do the math quick. I'm going to mess it up. I'll just do the math real quick. I tell you what it is, though. It's down a hell of a lot from the last 4 years, where the dead man in chief said that, oh, well, he just couldn't do anything. Let's just see. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, no. Hold on. Got that number wrong. Yeah, that's like 250 a day. Not bad. Not bad, considering we heard for 4 years that Democrats couldn't do anything about the border. Couldn't do a damn thing about it. It is not clear how many of the people who have been arrested have been convicted of committing crimes outside of being in the United States illegally, which is a crime, or have been accused of crimes. The Trump administration said its first priority was to deport the violent criminals. And that's what's going to happen. Look, you're in this country illegally, you're breaking the law. That's the bottom line. I don't know what about this is confusing for people. Just because someone may not like a law does not mean you just don't have to follow it. Which apparently a lot of Democrats have decided is their new shtick. Where I don't really like it that much, so I'm just going to ignore it. Well, that's really not the way laws work. Believe me, every time I'm going 70, 80, maybe a little bit more on the highway, I'm ignoring the law too. But I realize there are consequences for when I get pulled over, which has never happened because I don't break the law. You know, I don't do that. I'm not that kind of guy. I would never do that. Of course, this comes as well as, are you ready for this? Hey, Long Island, you in the chat? Where's Long Island? We got Long Island in the chat here? I think we do. Plenty of people from my neck of the woods. It turns out they arrested an MS-13 gang leader who had been a fugitive for justice for over 4 years right here on Long Island. And real quick, post-millennial, we've got to talk. I'm not thrilled with you, post-millennial. Why am I not thrilled with you? Well, probably because it's not in Long Island, it's on Long Island. But we can talk about that later on. Federal authorities arrested a high-ranking MS-13 gang leader on Tuesday for his alleged role in a conspiracy responsible for 11 murders. Joel Vargas Escobar of El Salvador, also known as Momia, was taken into custody in Long Island, on Long Island. The Department of Justice announced in a comprehensive press release. According to the Justice Department, Vargas Escobar had been a fugitive from justice for nearly 4 years and was indicted in the District of Nevada on racketeering and conspiracy charges that involved 11 murders. He's also been charged with 2 counts of murder in the aid of racketeering and associated with firearms charges, according to the DOJ. The American people are now safer following the arrest of this MS-13 leader, Pam Bondi said in a statement. This terrorist entered the country illegally and is accused of orchestrating 11 murders. So, look, for my non-Long Island people, and I know there are some of them, even though everyone should be, for my non-Long Island people, there is a scourge of gang violence here on Long Island. There are total neighborhoods that I will not go to. I'm talking about the numbered streets in Huntington Station. I'm talking about Port Jeff Station. I'm talking about the Four Corners and Wyandanch. Places I just will not go. Entire Long Island neighborhoods have been completely cut off. Entire Long Island neighborhoods have been completely cut off by the scourge of illegal immigrants and illegal immigrant crime. Now, you're not supposed to talk about that stuff. You're just supposed to acknowledge that poor immigrant slave labor is going to pick your lettuce. But something tells me if you've been charged with racketeering, gun charges, attempted murder, you're probably not out in the fields picking all of our oranges. I'm just going to roll the dice and say that that's probably not happening. It's one of those things, that when I say it, I don't know, but I know. I can't prove that this guy wasn't working out in the vineyards on the North Fork, but I'm going to roll with it. The Parkview clique of MS-13 has committed 11 murders over a one-year period in Nevada and California. Many of the victims were allegedly kidnapped and then taken to remote locations in the mountains and in the desert, where they were tortured and killed, according to the indictment. Lovely. Lovely. Why wouldn't we allow more of those people into how selfish of us to not allow people into the country who are going to, I don't know, drag people into the woods and cut them up with a machete. Why shouldn't we take those people in? Hello? Like that young girl in Brentwood. For my Long Islanders, you'll remember that. She was like 16. 3 guys dragged her into the woods, cut her up with a machete. Spoiler alert, all 3 were illegal immigrants. Why wouldn't we import the totality of the world's gang violence and then hear from the president of El Salvador how he's gotten rid of all the crime in his country? Yeah, because they're living in Brentwood. Because they're living in Queens. This shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. MS-13, of course, is primarily made up of El Salvadorian and other Central American groups. Did somebody just order something? Let's see. Who do I have to thank here? I want to thank Tessa Hartfield for picking up 2 Doge hats. Do I have my Doge hat with me? I don't think I do. Thank you, Tessa, very much. I appreciate that. You'll be getting a free Loud Majority decal with your order. We'll go over that later in the show. But yes, you'll be getting that. So thank you very much, Tessa. Are you in the chat? Are you in the chat? Boom. 2 girls in CI. And then the yes. 2 girls in CI got killed, which is Central Islip. Which, I want to be clear, Central Islip is literally where the courthouse is. Next to some of the most expensive property on planet Earth. I'm talking to you, East Islip. And then ran her mother over with a car. Huh. Bob, let me look into that. Bob, I'll look into that. Why wouldn't we continue to import these people into the country? Vasquez Escobar appeared in court on Wednesday morning for his initial appearance before a magistrate judge in the Eastern District in Central Islip. He will, of course, be transferred to Nevada for trial, where he faces a mandatory prison sentence. Good. I hope he enjoys every single second of that. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We're going to be going over the J.D. Vance interview in just a little bit because he sat down with Lawrence Jones of Fox News, and he talked a lot about these deportations. And he talked a lot about how the president has a mandate in order to John O'Shaughnessy in the chat again. This man is in love with me. He's on my Facebook chat. He's got some weird kind of, he's got like some kind of weird attraction to me. I don't really know what that is. Let's boot this guy out. Boom. Be gone with you, sir. So let's keep on rocking and rolling here. So some people are very, very, very upset at ICE rounding up MS-13 gang members accused of being involved in 11 murders in Nevada. So what do? Well, they take a shot at ICE agents. Now, why do I bring this up? We know the left is violent. We know the left promotes violence. The problem is that I don't think a lot of people seriously understand the complexity behind the violence that is happening all over this country. We're going to get to the story in just a second, but I want to show this Tim Pool clip. Because when we talk Civil War on this show, when we talk violence on this show, when we talk about the sorts of things that are happening all over the country, I think people they have this envisionment of civil war, like it's going to be North against South and two different sides. I've been saying it for many years now. I think we have been in the midst of a second American Civil War for quite some time. I would say that the start of it, if you ask me, goes back to 2015 with the Berkeley bombings, with the Berkeley firebombing during the Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben Shapiro, and Ann Coulter events. I've long said that we've been in the middle of it. But Tim Pool breaks it down about what this Civil War is actually going to look like and how we are in the middle of it.
Most of the stories that we're hearing about the Tesla attacks, this is this is the tip of the needle. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
Most of the people who are having this happen to them, they're probably not recording the videos and posting it. They're probably just sitting there dumbfounded like, I can't believe someone threw a rocket in my car.
Yeah.
The other thing to point out is this guy, according to the story, pulled a gun. And if these leftists keep up their attacks, some have been mass shootings. The guy in Vegas with a rifle fired into the air at the building, and then into vehicles before throwing firebombs. Someone is going to get seriously hurt. The left does not care. This is what my concern is, because the right is not calling for this, not advocating for it. And even on shows like this, we keep saying, please, you do not want the violence.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And as we've talked about the escalation of unrest throughout the past 7 years, most of the people that I've brought on mention this. You do not want civil war. You do not want the unrest. People don't understand how bad it really can get. They think it's like movies. Right. People think war is this faraway land, and they need to look at what happened in Aleppo when a normal city.
What's Aleppo?
Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, Gary. This city, the photos from Aleppo. It is funny that this is. It is kind of funny that this is a great example of this, and Gary Johnson didn't know.
Yeah. Everybody.
But just to clarify, the photos of Aleppo, of this beautiful town, normal shopping district, cars and fountains, and then you do a side-by-side, and it's rubble and ash.
Can I? Sorry, go ahead, Phil, please.
Well, just the people that talk about, wanting that kind of conflict here, they need to understand that what it'll look like is cartel violence in Mexico. That's what it would look like. It wouldn't look like North and South. That's what people think of when you hear like phrases like civil war and stuff like that. They think that it would be, somehow they'd be insulated.
Wasn't particularly nice either.
No, it wasn't at all. 100%. And I don't mean to minimize that, but it'll look like, it'll look like cartel violence. It'll look like you find out that your cousin, his body was found in a landfill, brutally tortured.
So
that is what the Second American Civil War is going to look like. It's not going to look like some sort of a North versus South or everyone's standing on a certain line. It's not going to be New York against Texas or California versus Florida. It is going to be these acts of stochastic terrorism, like we see in Texas right now with a man apparently threatening to open fire on ICE agents because he doesn't like what they're doing. The Department of Homeland Security, this from the Post Millennial, has arrested a man in Texas for allegedly making threats against ICE and Kristi Noem. Robert King, a U.S. citizen, was taken into custody in McKinney, Texas, after pledging on social media to open fire on ICE agents in his neighborhood, according to Homeland Security. King's rhetoric follows a similar incident in which a man on TikTok, known as, I don't even know what that is, went viral this week for posting a video urging people to shoot ICE agents on sight. The man said, shoot at ICE agents on sight. That's right. If ICE agents are trying to take you or a loved one, shoot them on sight. The user said in a viral video, which has since been removed, the way they're pulling up with masks on in unmarked vehicles, no badge, no nothing. It could be anybody. It could be gang members. Right. Gang members are kidnapping gang members. You're an idiot. In response to the video, Noam posted on X, if you threaten or attempt to harm the life of law enforcement, we will find you and persecute you. I'm not going to play the video for you, but you kind of get the idea of what it was like. This comes as numerous people. We've been hearing numerous instances of people beginning to self-deport from the country. Okay, more of that. Absolutely more of that. We'll get to that in 1 second. Before we do, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. So a Cornell student has decided to self-deport after his visa was revoked rather than take up a legal battle. Wow. Is anybody in the chat shocked? Is anyone in the chat shocked that this comes from an Ivy League student? Because nothing says the best and brightest we have. Nothing says our top university like bringing in terrorists to undermine and undergird the concept of American values. And all I got to say to him is I'm not going to miss you. I'm not going to miss you whatsoever. A foreign student at Cornell University has decided to self-deport from the United States after his visa was revoked for over participation in pro-Hamas protests on campus last week. Momodou Dalal, 31, a British Gambian dual citizen. So this guy is a citizen of two countries, yet he decides to come to school here. Yeah. You know who's paying for that? You. That's who's paying for that. Announced on Monday that he has opted to voluntarily leave the country after a judge declined to block the government from taking steps to deport him. Talal had filed a federal lawsuit on March 15th against the Trump administration on behalf of several students facing similar fate for their participation in the disrupt. Why do they say this? They're not anti-Israel protests. You can't take over the quad at a school. I don't care what the cause is for. The lawsuit argued free speech violations, and Judge Elizabeth Comby rejected to place a temporary restraining order on the president's immigration executive order last week. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security explained in a statement on Tuesday that Dalal was targeted for deportation because he was a terrorist sympathizer. Yeah. It's not about Israel. It's about supporting terrorism. As I've said numerous times, you don't have to support Israel, but you have to be anti-terrorist. That's kind of a rule. And what do I mean by that? Well, not for nothing. Rosa Catalano. Thank you very much. Wow, definitely very, very much. Thank you very much. You will also receive a free Loud Majority decal in the mail. Thank you very much, Rosa. Whole bunch of Doge stuff. You guys are going to look real good walking around, let me tell you. The student praised Palestinian Hamas terrorist group on social media the day after the October 7th attacks, saying, "Glory to the resistance." You don't get to support terrorism, okay? It's not about Israel. It's about... Look, I go to Lower Manhattan all the time. And we do a lot of protests down by the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. And for those of you who don't know, there's a giant hole in Lower Manhattan caused by some of these radical Muslim terrorists. And some guy was rolling around with a Hezbollah flag just outside of Ground Zero. I mean, if that guy was on fire, I wouldn't put him out. You want to carry your Palestinian flag, you want to carry your Palestine flags, you want to carry your Hezbollah flags, your Hamas flags, your Houthi flags. I don't even know if they have flags, but I'm sure they make them somewhere. You want to carry those, I got no problem at all. Not at Ground Zero. Not at Ground Zero. You want to pull that shit, you can leave. Long live the Intifada, this guy tweeted out. For those of you who don't know what an intifada is, it is a violent uprising. You don't get to do that and stay in America. Talal announced his decision to self-deport from the United States. He said, "Today, I took the decision to leave the United States free and with my head held high. For those following this story, I decided to sue the Trump administration with the hope that it would offer a reprieve for myself and others similarly situated people. But Trump did not want me to have my day in court and sent ICE agents to my home and revoked my visa." Yeah. Because coming to the United States, going to school in the United States, is not a right. It is a privilege. Also, you're a citizen of 2 other countries. Go to school there. Britain has basically fallen, so why don't you go there and wave your pro-Hamas nonsense, your pro-Hamas propaganda? Feel free. Feel free. I got no issue with that whatsoever, since the UK is basically not a Western nation anymore. So, not bad. Kelly Salvatore wants to know, what do I need to do to get a loud majority decal? Kelly Salvatore says, well, this would be a perfect time for me to explain that. Guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. And Kelly Salvatore, you will get a free Loud Majority US decal with the purchase of anything on the website. You want anything we've got, get it now. Because, let's be honest, once these tariffs go into place, things are going to get a little bit more expensive. For the ladies, we got leggings and joggers and all that good stuff. We got all your Trump dog stuff. We got Trump Vance flags. We got lawn signs. Look, we still got hoodies if you're one of these women that freezes, bathing suits. My personal favorite shirt, if you ask me, right here. I'll let you read that aloud to yourself and enjoy it. I think it's hilarious. I'll let you read that to yourself. But you guys can get that at loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. And you will get a free Loud Majority decal with any order of anything on the website. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Ba-boom. Let's keep rocking. Let's look at all that good stuff I got for you. All that good stuff I got for you there. So when people aren't shooting at ICE agents, when terrorists are not complaining on X that they have to self-deport or be deported themselves, sometimes ICE agents are allowed to do their jobs. But if they do, don't do it in Boston. Do not do it in Boston, or you may find yourself held in contempt of court for upholding American immigration law.
Well, Sandra, also in Boston, ICE there arresting another illegal alien charged with aggravated child rape. It's just the latest example in what appears to be a recurring problem in the state of Massachusetts. But instead of cooperating with federal agents, a Boston judge is now holding an ICE agent in contempt of court. This is after the agency took a different man into custody in the middle of his criminal trial. Senior correspondent Eric Sean has all the details. So, Eric, what the heck happened here?
Yeah, Bill, he was on trial in a Massachusetts state court, but the judge dismissed the case because ICE grabbed the defendant. And now that judge, well, he's blaming the ICE agent.
Where are you taking him? Where are you taking him? Where are you taking him?
Take a look at this video of William Martel LeBron as he left court on the second day of his trial in Boston. His attorney says he is being taken by ICE agents who then stashed him in an SUV and drove away. Martel LeBron is from the Dominican Republic. He is charged with giving false information when he applied for a Massachusetts driver's license. But his arrest by ICE prompted Boston Municipal Court Judge Mark Somerville to blast the agency, accusing ICE of violating Martel LeBron's rights. And he held the ICE agent in charge of the case in contempt of court.
This is a disturbing case. This is a case of obstruction of justice. It's a case of violating the defendant's right to be present at trial and confront witnesses against him. Couldn't be more serious.
Martel LeBron's lawyer, Murat Erkan, tells us that ICE, in his words, illegally kidnapped his client.
My client was disappeared in the middle of a trial in which he was defending himself against allegations that the government made. That's what occurred, and it is a sobering and highly concerning event for anybody that loves freedom and democracy in this country.
But Trump Order Tom Homan has accused the state of going easy on illegal immigrants, and he's promised to go to Boston himself to confront the situation.
I would very much hope Tom Homan is going to head to Boston, because Boston, and I want to be clear, I love Boston. I do. For anybody, you guys know I'm a big baseball fan. I don't care if you're a Yankee fan or not. I don't care what team you root for. Go to Fenway Park. It's the best stadium in America. Downtown Boston has got some of the best nightlife you're ever going to go to. It's got all the American history. I love it. I love it. I love it. However, Boston is being run by a rogue mayor. A rogue mayor. And believe me, I know a thing or two about rogue mayors being here in New York City. Brianna Wu has said numerous times she plans to just ignore federal law because she feels like it. Listen to the language this woman uses. It's all emotion. It's no fact. It is just blah. It is like, oh, we're a welcoming city. Welcoming for who?
What do you say to the people who, in your constituency, who might feel like, hey, why are we doing this? What's the big deal with this sanctuary city thing? If people are illegally in the country, shouldn't we arrest them and get rid of them? What is the big deal?
Yeah, we are, again, we're the safest city because we're safe for everyone. In a community where over a quarter of your residents were born in another country, if people are afraid to drop their kids off at school or call 911 when they need help or share information when they actually have information to report about a crime that happened, that makes everyone less safe, whether or not you are an immigrant, whether or not you're here in this country 6 generations or just arrived. So we're really focused on being that home for everyone, and it's worked. And so all of the buzz around, whether these kinds of cities that are more welcoming for immigrants are more dangerous, it's about a false narrative that immigrants are somehow more likely to commit crimes or cause harm, and that is just simply not true. We know that in our city, where our immigrant communities are entrepreneurs, are holding up the best hospitals in the country, the universities and jobs that we all rely on. And in order to make sure that we can keep that progress going, everyone has to feel part of it.
Everyone has to feel part of it except the American citizens who are routinely raped and murdered by the people Brianna Wu says are allowed to come to her city. I mean, Boston, do better. Do better. I mean, nominate Big Papi for mayor. He'll win. You know who should run for mayor of Boston? Tom Brady. We got to get Tom Brady to run for the mayor of Boston. He's based as hell. Women love him. Men want to be him. And he'll definitely win. Does anyone know anyone who knows Tom Brady? How do we make this happen? I will go up there and help Tom Brady, even though, well, I didn't have to worry. I'm a Giants fan. But Tom Brady should run for mayor of Boston, because it is time that we stop listening to the craziest people on planet Earth about illegal immigration. And J.D. Vance made that very clear today when he sat down with Lawrence Jones.
There's been a few cases out there where the Democrats and the media say, oh, this person was just an innocent father of three, and then you find out, for example, I think this is the case that you're talking about. Back in 2019, an immigration judge looked at all the evidence, looked at all the data, and concluded that this allegedly innocent person that we sent to El Salvador was actually a member of an MS-13 gang. He had also committed some traffic violations. He had not shown up for some court dates. This is not exactly Father of the Year here. This is a person that we don't think should be in our country. Here's the most important point, though, Lawrence, is whatever the argument is, whatever the justification is, no one doubts, not even the crazy left-wing media criticize the idea that we could deport this person. They just took issue with the reasoning for why we deported this person. This was unquestionably an illegal alien. This was unquestionably a person who broke the laws to get into our country. This is unquestionably a person an immigration judge had found had zero right to be in the United States of America. We do not ask permission from far-left Democrats before we deport illegal immigrants. We do the American people's business. And again, for the American people who are watching, this is such a weird, mistaken placement of priorities. We need to make our country stronger. We need to create jobs. We need to make our streets safer. What is it about congressional Democrats that get more angry at deporting violent gang members than they do at the victims of those violent gang members? I don't even understand where they're coming from. They've gone off the deep end, and they got to come back to reality.
Yeah, Democrats coming back to reality. Come on, JD. That is hilarious, because here's what's going to happen. And Democrats are already doing it when it comes to illegal immigration. Donald Trump has rounded up some 100,000 people and deported them from the country. I will admit, just law of averages, just basic math would say probably somebody, maybe a couple people, are going to get caught up in the mix who shouldn't be deported. And I hope we re-adjudicate that and figure out who those people are, and the ones who shouldn't have been come back. And I'm very sorry that happened, and I'm sure they'll sue the government for millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they'll live happily ever after. As a matter of fact, if the federal government would like to accidentally deport me to a country and then bring me back after they figure out that they made a mistake, I would gladly take that lawsuit. But Democrats and their friends in the media mob will continue to find the fringe case and then make it every way possible to soften what this person actually did. They won't say that they're in the country illegally, which is, of course, a crime. No, they won't do that. They'll call him a Maryland dad.
Jesse, you and I have never received in our lives as much positive press
I know.
as this MS-13 gang member has received. We couldn't get headlines like that if our lives depended on it.
Yeah.
So let's just go over the facts here. He is an illegal alien. Fact one, what do you do with illegal aliens? You deport them. Fact two, he's an MS-13. What do you do with illegal aliens who are also in a transnational terrorist organization? You deport them more quickly. Oh, and on top of that, he's implicated in human trafficking. Deport, deport, deport. This is who they're going to bat for. What are we supposed to do? Buy the guy a house, get him some free health care?
Yeah.
Maybe let him run for Congress?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. You're supposed to do all of those things.
This is who this is the Democrat Party. This is who they stand for. This is who Cory Booker stands for in 2025. They stand for illegal alien predators that are in transnational cartels. That's the Democrat Party of today. We will win this fight all day, every day.
All day, every day. Can't stop, won't stop winning. You know why? Because at the end of the day, most people don't really care. Doesn't affect their day-to-day life. You're here illegally, you got to go. It's not complicated. Right now, if there was an election held today in America, a presidential election, the Democrats' motto would be vote for us. We're on the side of transnational gangs and the IRS. Literally two of the least popular things on planet Earth. The only way the Democrats can become less popular is if they sat all of us down and forced us to watch the new Snow White. 1.8 on IMDb. Set to lose $200 million, by the way. Do you know how hard you have to work to lose $200 million at Disney That's unbelievably impressive. Guys, we're going to get to more stories in just a second because I do want to cover J.D. Vance sitting down with Fox News today because he talked about the tariffs. He talked about a great many things that I want to make sure that we get to. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFATV related. Check out the LFATV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming monthly donors over at LFATV. That is the best way to support this network and everything we've got going on over here. Also, we always do appreciate your Rumble rants, as always, on this show. I want to thank everybody for those whenever they are coming. Whenever they're coming, on whatever show they're coming from, I really do appreciate it. Let's pop the live chat up onto the screen because I don't think I've checked in with you guys yet today. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun. Jay Bourne, you have been very active in the chat today. You've been very active in the chat. You seem relatively new. I hope we haven't upset you too much. I don't really know. You seem very upset. Goose, what's happening? Conservative Autumn, I saw you before. I didn't get a chance to say hello. I want to make sure I say hello to everybody. Sagan, what's happening? Miss Mocha Powdered, how are you? Wilson, what's happening? This guy's riled up today. Hazel Kitty, what's happening? Oh, from my Long Island crowd, very exciting stuff. I don't have it queued up yet. But I'm going to be making an announcement. Paula Scanlon, who I had on the show last week. I hope you guys all got to see that interview. Paula Scanlon, who I had on the show last week, is going to be speaking here on Long Island later in the month at LIU. This is a big deal because this is the first time LIU, Long Island University, has allowed their Turning Point USA chapter to have a speaker in nearly 4 years. Some of you may remember the last time the Turning Point USA chapter at LIU tried to have a speaker. It was me and Sean, and they canceled it. So I'm really excited for the kids over there. I'll be putting out that information over the course of the next couple of days. It's going to be great if you're in the area, New York, New Jersey. Come on out to see that one. Support the kids. It's a free event. We want to make sure we fill the room. So let's keep moving and grooving here. J.D. Vance went on with Lawrence O'Donnell on Fox News this morning and was talking about the idea of these tariffs because people are very, very upset about all of these tariffs. Now, look, I want to be clear. I want to be very clear about this. There will be some short-term pain when it comes to these sorts of things. There will be supply chain crises. Things are going to come from different places. Perhaps you may not be able to go to the dollar store and piss away all of your money on plastic crap made in China. That's entirely possible. But maybe, just maybe, it is time for a resetting of the global order. Maybe, just maybe, it is time for organizations like Koch Industries and the rest of the Chamber of Commerce people to stop outsourcing our jobs all over the world and then begging us to buy their cheap crap that ends up breaking. Here was J.D. Vance talking about how, a lot of people got rich from outsourcing. The only person that suffered was the American worker.
I think on one hand, frankly, a lot of people have gotten rich from American jobs moving overseas, but American workers have not gotten rich. And frankly, American companies have not gotten wealthy from the increasing growth of foreign competitors manufacturing overseas. As the president says, Lawrence, these foreign companies, they charge us ridiculous tariffs. They engage in a lot of non-tariff practices like currency manipulation. That has been awful for Main Street in the United States of America. It's meant those diners, their customers, don't have jobs anymore. It meant those great steel mills, those great auto plants have closed down and their workers have been laid off. What I saw yesterday in the Rose Garden was incredible enthusiasm, because a lot of those workers, they've been working hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, young and old, were in the Rose Garden yesterday. They've never had a president who stood up for their jobs and stood up for American prosperity. They finally see something has shifted. There were Democrats out there, Republicans. There were union and non-union workers alike. They know this is a big change, but we need a big change in this country, because what we've done, what we did under the Biden administration, it just wasn't working.
It just wasn't working. It just was not working for the American worker. Also, I want to make this very clear. If you don't think American companies are going to adjust to these sorts of things in order to make the most money for themselves, that's what corporations do. That's the essence of corporations. And I want to make something very clear. We heard a lot yesterday. We heard a lot yesterday about American auto manufacturing. I have long said that I could fix the American auto industry almost overnight. It wouldn't be hard at all. I would have the CEO of Ford, the CEO of Chevy, the CEO of Stellantis, or whichever company, GM, pick one. Take out an ad in the Super Bowl and say something very basic. Something along the lines of, look, we helped build this country. We're now going to bring all of our manufacturing back here to America. And yes, your car might cost a little bit more. And yes, our stock price might take a little bit of a hit. But as Ford, as GM, as Chevy, as Stellantis, as any of these companies, if you invest in us, we will invest in America. And I can promise you, every construction site out there will have a Ford F-150. Every soccer mom will drive around in a Ford Escape. Every parent will have their 16, 17, 18-year-old birthday present be a Ford Focus or whatever the hell it might be. I can promise you that, because Americans want the opportunity to buy American. The problem is that there is just simply not enough opportunity for those sorts of things to happen. And once that happens, sales tax, all the other taxes that are associated with it, then get recycled back into the economy so that perhaps we might be able to pay down some of these deficits. The fact of the matter is, we have run deficits at a time when we are supposedly at peace. We're supposedly at peace. Look, if we were in a World War II type scenario and we ran up massive debts, I understand that. If we hadn't lied about Iraq and Afghanistan, that probably would have helped too. But, George W. Bush is retarded and let Dick Cheney run the country. But we have been running deficits that are simply not sustainable. And J.D. Vance spoke about that also with Lawrence Jones.
Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration. But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on 2 principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it. But we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
And as I said yesterday on the show, I think auto manufacturing is the second most populated job for men in America without a college degree. For 100 years in this country, if you wanted to work your way up into the middle class, you got a good paying union job at some sort of factory, making something that you could then afford to buy. That was the whole concept of Ford in the first place with the $5, was it the 5-hour work day or the $5 work week, whatever that was. I don't remember the exact, it's just slipping my mind at the moment. But people could afford to buy the things that they made, and they took pride in making those sorts of things. And if you've ever been with somebody who works construction or who builds things for a living, watching how proud they are of that thing in which they built, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Wow, this Jay Bourne guy in the chat. Man, you're talking in the chat more than I'm speaking on the show. Oh boy. He's one of these. Okay, never mind. We're going to ignore that guy from now on. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We'll be back in 1 second. Old Glory Bank.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, head on over to own.oldglorybank.com. That's own.oldglorybank.com. Look, I'm seeing something in the chat right now that has me flummoxed. Angry Hot Dog. You know I'm a big fan of you. You've been in the chat a long time. Says, my Audi is a better quality than any Chevy I've owned. Absolutely. Audi makes a great product. No one is doubting the quality of some of the products that are manufactured overseas. No one is doubting that. I take that back. Audis with those stupid headlights that blind everybody on the road. Could we all take a chill pill, please, with that? Everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not doubting the quality of the product. What I'm saying is, you want an Audi, go buy an Audi. But I don't know why our foreign trade policy should be a help everyone else out first policy. It should be a promote the people here policy. You want to get a Mercedes, go ahead. You don't think there are rich people in Europe that own American-made cars? 100%. The problem is that everything we've done in this country for the last 40 years has gone out of its way to benefit other people over us, and that needs to stop. That absolutely needs to stop. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. I got to share a really sad story with you now. A really sad story with you that is getting almost no media attention whatsoever. An honor student at a track meet in Frisco was stabbed in the heart by another student because that other student was sitting with the wrong team at a track meet. Let's see if you guys can figure out why this isn't getting any mainstream media attention.
The sad part about it is he died in his brother's arms. They were twins, identical twins. And his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms. And I rushed up there, and I saw him on the gurney. And I could tell. They said he wasn't breathing. I could see all the blood. I saw where the wound was.
Understandably still in shock, Jeff Metcalf says a precious memory was made just this past weekend when he took his twin boys hunting. That's where Austin got his first hog. Well, this morning at around 10, he rushed here to Kirkendall Stadium where the Memorial High School student athlete suffered a fatal stab wound during this track and field meet. Frisco police say a fight broke out between two students when one stabbed the other. More than 100 student athletes were participating in this meet. Fortunately, they were safely evacuated. Police arrested the suspect. He is 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony of Frisco. He is now charged with murder. Some students, unfortunately, witnessed this deadly encounter and have been interviewed by police. Despite life-saving efforts, the 16-year-old victim died at the hospital. Austin, his father shares, was born 2 minutes before his twin brother Hunter, the two inseparable, as you can imagine. Austin is being remembered as an outstanding student at Memorial High, his football team's MVP, and a young man of faith. His father grappling with loss and forgiveness.
I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy was in the wrong place. They asked him to move, and he bowed up. This is murder. I don't know. I know they have someone in custody.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what? I already forgive this person. Already. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
The victim's father says these two teens did not know each other before today. We do need to stress that police have not said what they believe led up to this deadly encounter. There is a prayer vigil tonight at 7 p.m.
I want to make something very clear. Two things. Number one, that man is a stronger man than I think I will ever be able to be. Stronger than I don't think I would ever be able to have that sort of forgiveness. And God bless that man. Number two, how big of a piece of shit do you have to be to bring a knife to a track meet? What could possibly happen that would require you to do that? And number three, do you know how hard it is to stab somebody in the heart? Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction? Here was that young man's twin brother on his reaction.
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother.
I feel so bad for that young man. So bad. Guys, it's 2 o'clock. Will Johnson's coming up next. Make sure you keep it locked in here. If you guys are looking for that free Loud Majority decal, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Pick up any order, and I will be sure to send that out to you. Guys, stay tuned. Will Johnson, hit the thumbs up button on the way out the door, and I will catch you guys back live tomorrow. Until then, stay loud.